Oh, it's time for Monday morning's Bring It In True Hoops little Zoom from quarantine show. Today with my dog on camera. I lowered my seat just so you can see my dog sleeping. She's there every time, but now you can see her. And that's all we have to talk about. Let's just talk about my dog. That's Lola, everybody. Say hi to Lola. David, how was your weekend?
I mean, as weekends go, it's fine. My daughter's studying for finals. The weather was nice. It was fine. We're very lucky. That's all I can ever say is I know what people are going through all over the country, if not the world, of course. And we have no excuses in Florida. We just have no excuses. It's sad that there's any issues. We have lots of space and lots of sun, and we don't have to be indoors at all times. It's just sad.
So we did that thing. We planned probably more content than we have time for, so we need to be a little chop. Today we have 20 issues. I propose we just start rolling through them. You good with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So number one, late Friday, we were able to publish this little video from the great Masai Ujiri, president of Toronto Raptors. He sent it to you. He said we could publish it. And if you haven't seen it yet, dear viewers, listeners, it's on TrueHoop.com. It's pretty great, man. It's pretty great. It's hard to talk about these issues, and he did a great job.
He did. Yeah, he's a thoughtful person.
Go ahead. There you go.
Oh, Judy's gonna play it.
I'll just get a little hint of it.
It takes a second for him to start talking.
Yeah. Anyway, there's a part where Adina cited on Twitter this part where he's something like, "I might not understand your music, but I can listen."
Yeah,
that's what you need to do now. Okay, issue number 2. Moving right along. 48 positive tests is a big number of tests for NBA players. It's about almost 10% of the league tested positive for COVID. What do you think about that?
Was that the league players or anyone that was tested?
Players.
Okay. Well, what I think about is what Judy's showing right now is some players that I spoke to when they first got to their franchises right after Thanksgiving. They felt, one in particular told me that he felt like a casualness about how they were going about COVID protocols. And that is no longer the case, because initially it was, hey, try not to go to restaurants and bars kind of thing. And now I think they're banning restaurants and bars, which is what I've already told my players. Other than going in to get something to go with a mask on, you should not be in any restaurants or bars, period, end of story. And I'm glad the NBA is making that part of the protocol. Otherwise, there's going to be cancellations right and left. This virus is just too contagious for crying out loud,
I would point out though that as a measure of personal safety protocols, this league was 0% COVID just a couple months ago. Like, to be 10% positive after just a short break sucks, right? Like, every single player needs new habits now, right? Like, this is not the whole like trust your teammates to take care of you thing, like, starts now apparently with this many positives just since the bubble ended, right? Like, whatever everybody's doing hasn't been working at all. And so that's where I'm a little bit I'll just read this little thing from CNN. On the road, players will be allowed to eat outside their hotel only if they'll be dining at a restaurant approved by the league, outdoors or indoors in a, quote, fully privatized space. For teams, violations of the safety protocols could result in penalties like fines, suspensions, adjustments, or loss of draft choices and or game forfeiture, the memo says. Players may be asked to quarantine and could be subject to pay adjustment for any games missed. This is going to be a giant test of, do you trust your employer, right? Like, if you don't, I mean, people were trying to sneak out of the bubble, right? It's very hard to police this, is what I'm saying. Like, they're going to be 450 players in 30 different locations and keeping track of everybody.
And what they should do, you and I talked about this, and I don't know if we've ever written or talked about it on the show, but a couple of years ago, I knew the Warriors on every road trip, they would have 2 different kinds of team meals on their road trips. Typically at the hotel restaurant, one of the 2 or 3 at most of these restaurants, most of the hotels they stay in, where it was team only, and they could maybe bring a friend or 2 that was in town, like a mom or if someone was visiting, and then sometimes it was a little more open than that, at the team's expense. And I thought it was brilliant. And the Warriors won the championship that year. They won the championship. I think we know what Pop has done with the Spurs in the past, right? There's an opportunity here. And I realize teams are worried about money, But between players chipping in a little bit per diem or billionaires just not being afraid to spend $1 million, which is all it would cost to have a team meal on every road trip, or they could always eat in their room. But there's a way to build unity this way. There's a way to organize it. You saw in the note, privatized, right? That means basically say to the hotel, we're going to lock this place down an hour beforehand, get it all clean, whatever. Not that that matters a whole lot, but I know in optics it does. And just players only, no guests, because you don't know where they've been. So it's just got to be players and staff only. And there's a way to do that and build some camaraderie, build some chemistry and culture. I don't know that they'll do that, but this is the time to do it. During these next few months are going to be bearish.
Well, and restaurants will be closed by and large, right? In a lot of these cities, right?
Yeah.
So I think you could call any restaurant, right?
Oh, for sure.
Can we have a private event there, or can you?
They'd be thrilled.
Right.
Yep.
We'll talk a little later about the local rules and regs, this kind of stuff. All right, issue number 3 is it occurs to me when we talk about herd immunity comes at some rate that's above 50%, and that's then the country's nowhere close. The NBA players are getting closer. There were a bunch of positives, number we don't know before the bubble, and now it's not, for some teams it's probably conceivable that they're getting close. I did read this article. It's interesting. They say that with some diseases, natural
is better than the vaccine.
Immunity is worse, and some diseases it's worse.
Yeah.
And in this one, they don't actually know, but the experts are saying that you should absolutely still get the vaccine if you have had COVID anyway.
Not to, I can say this now, it's fine. Months ago, my daughter got COVID in college, no symptoms. All of her friends got it, like every student. No symptoms, all is fine. I read that article, Henry, and 25 others like that this weekend.
Yeah.
That's what I did this weekend, because once she's done with her finals this week, she'll be around more than she has been this last week that she's been home, or 2 weeks she's been home. And so I've tried to get educated on it, because my brother, who's a doctor, said what this article said basically is more or less, he said, your chance of getting it again are very, very small. He actually gave it a number percentage. He said that's kind of like how vaccines work, right? But they don't really know. They don't really know if you can't get it again, or if you can't get it and just spread it. And then is it based on how bad you had it the first time, which for my daughter was not at all. Like literally, she only knew because she felt bad. Her friend was going because her friend was symptomatic. And she was like, well, I'll just go with you, but I feel fine. Turns out the friend only had a cold, not the coronavirus, and my daughter had it and never had a single symptom. So we don't really know, but it certainly seems likely that, and I know this from colleges, talking to college coaching friends of mine, there are some college teams who have 90% COVID cases in the last 5 months. 90% going back to the summer, even before they were back in school. And so, yeah, it seems unlikely there's going to be another spreader event within that team.
I'm not a doctor, but I think they're not going to have a super spreader event. Now, their problem is the team isn't the team, right? The roster,
that's right,
might have herd immunity, but the team and all of the people around it,
you got it. You have to be what I told my son. You have to be, and my daughter, who my son hasn't had it. You just got to be smart. You have to imagine you still have it and you can still spread it, just to make sure you are mindful of other people who, if they get it, would get really sick from it.
We were dealing with this. Randy and I were talking about it. I think everybody I know has either had the coronavirus and has a question for themselves, or has a loved one, or like your daughter, right? And so it is a big question now. What are the rules in dealing with that person, right? Or people? And I did reach out to a friend of the show who's a noted expert in this field. And I would say her name, but I just don't want to put her on the spot because I don't think she thought she was being published. But she reached out to a super respected infectious disease expert to ask on our behalf how we should behave. And the advice that came back was basically, until we have evidence, you should behave exactly as if they hadn't had the coronavirus, like outside only, masks, the whole deal. So who knows? Okay. Number 4 is the Blazers were due to open their training camp yesterday in their practice facility, but instead it's closed after 3 positive tests on that team. On the one hand, I'm like, wow, that's terrible. On the other hand, it's probably close to an average number of positive tests, or a typical number in the NBA right now. So maybe they're just being more cautious than other teams.
Well, my reaction was less intelligent than yours, because I was just thinking this is going to be bad for their team.
Oh, for sure.
Everyone else is practicing and they're going to be behind. There's no question. There's not a big turnover rate there, which is good. They know the system. The coach is the same.
2 new starters.
Oh, that's true. No, no, you're right. There's going to be some, but the core is the same. Some of the guys on the bench are the same. The coach is the same. That's a very important point.
Yeah.
The Pelicans have a bunch of new players and a new head coach, and a few other teams can say the same. The Nets. And so, but still, when you're talking about, think of it this way: it's a shorter season anyway, with shorter time to get ready for the season. You have a bad start, it's just not going to be as easy to come back. Like if you're chasing, there's just less games that you can successfully chase back from. Yeah. So it's for a team like Portland that's got their sights set on maybe top 4, it's going to have an impact.
Yep. There's a quick question. Caleb and Devin are talking about who will get the vaccines in what order. And I don't know if you guys saw, there was a report that like some Wall Street traders said that they thought they were going to jump in line, basically. To which my first response was like, oh, that's not fair. My second thought was, well, like rich asshole douchebags are super spreaders and probably just should get it. Like think about the rate at which they are spreading, right? Like that's probably exactly where you want to put the vaccine. Like if you can pull the strings to jump in this line, I probably think you should have it, because I know you're going to get a bunch of people COVID. Anyway, that's my hot take on it.
If someone asked me what, I'm low. I'm at 55. I'm still nowhere near the top that needs the virus, and I don't have any comorbidities that I'm aware of. I'm happy to go last. Not that I don't have trust in it. If everyone else says okay, I have enough space around me where I'm not going stir crazy. I don't work in a busy office. I work in an office next to my house, and I don't need to have it. Unfortunately, these rich households you're talking about, who probably could do the same thing that I'm going to be doing, don't.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make sure those people that don't have the option and have to intermix with people every day, they're going to get the vaccine before I am.
Yeah. Okay, number 5. California has got my attention here, but I'm pretty sure that some local authorities are going to shut down the NBA. I don't know where it's going to be, but California, initially it seemed like Santa Clara County's rules would shut down the 49ers, might extend to other neighboring counties in the Bay Area, which would shut down the Warriors. But then those local jurisdictions made a carve out for professional sports. Then the state, Governor Gavin Newsom, had a bunch of shutdowns and with different rules. And it looks like on Friday, it's a little different. The website's different today. But on Friday, that had a carve out for professional sports teams. However, this one little paragraph here, and I'm not an expert here, says that hotels can only be used in Southern California as right now in this regional stay-home order, because it only has 10% of ICU beds available. They can only offer accommodation for COVID-19 mitigation and containment measures, treatment measures, accommodation for essential workers, or providing housing solutions to protect homeless populations. I don't think there's any way to read this where the visiting Cleveland Cavaliers can check into a hotel in LA. Somebody tell me I'm wrong. I'm sure there's more to it than I know, but that looks like the reason why all the NFL teams in California have reportedly been looking for other places to play. This hotel clause doesn't seem to have loopholes. Legal, you agree? Are there loopholes there you see? Legal. Okay, there you go. None immediately. Okay. What do you think?
David, out loud. I was waiting to hear her voice. That's going to affect colleges too.
Yeah. Or there's more to it that I'm not noticing. Yeah. That,
there might be a loophole. I know that we've got a bunch of stuff to get to, but we need to go backwards a little bit on this same topic. And someone asked about rapid tests.
Yeah.
I called you yesterday, but I know it's hard to reach you on weekends. You're a very busy person, and you're doing your basement, all of that. But we need
on my hands, David. Paint on my hands.
America needs you, Henry.
So America needs me to paint the basement, David.
We need you. Your basement can wait. So our friend, Dr. Michael Mina, friend of the show, Dr. Michael Mina, who used to respond to my messages, now not so quick anymore.
Kind of a big deal, yeah.
Now that he's on CNN and every other day, he was talking about rapid tests. And then I listened to Michael Lewis's podcast yesterday, He was interviewed by Axios, and then but it was on his podcast too, where he talked about how there's 150 million, I forget the number, rapid test, maybe 150,000 rapid tests that government ordered that are just sitting around. He said he personally witnessed 15,000 sitting at the University of California, San Francisco's lab. Abbott Labs, no relation probably, did those. And so we need to connect the Dr. Minas of the world with the people from the government that actually ordered the rapid tests that are sitting somewhere. Because to my knowledge, Bilal just put on our chat that in London, I don't know where Bilal's family is, that their kids are getting rapid daily tests in their private school. I don't think that's in America, and we need to have it in America. So we need someone like you to connect the dots and say, people that want rapid tests, here's the government officials that have the rapid tests sitting in their basement somewhere, and let's get them working together so we can have rapid tests all over the place.
I mean, I love what you're saying there, and I'm glad that the tests are available, but bureaucracy is slow for a reason, right? Like they really do need policy. They can't just start handing out to this person, not that person, right? Like there's going to be committees, and there's going to be like, that's just how it goes, and we'll get them, but it won't be.
Bilal said it's in New York City that this private school's got them.
Yeah, and I think actually I heard this weekend that New Jersey, the state of New Jersey, or maybe our county, actually, the county that I live in, is going to start giving people rapid tests to use in their homes.
That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, so it's happening, but I feel like it is right that everywhere they exist, there's going to be layers and waves of committees and bureaucracy protecting them, right? Because if they just start handing them out, then they all go to Rudy Giuliani, and like that's
Yeah, no, I understand that. Well, they won't go to Rudy, but I know what you mean.
No, but they go to whoever's most connected to whoever.
Right, for sure.
Test, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Number 6, you have proprietary insight into a certain Zion Williamson.
Oh yeah, just that I'm hearing that he looks great, that he's in shape, and as a force. When that dude is something special. When I see his body on a game, right away my mind will think, well, he probably could lose X number of pounds. I'm going to be right within 20 pounds. People don't appreciate when you're 240, 250, 260. When I say he could lose 30, 40 pounds, people think it's a huge number. It's really not. It's a lot when you're weighing 160. At 260, it's not so much. And just for his health, I want him to be leaner for long-term health, because he plays the way Westbrook plays, and the old Westbrook plays, I should say the younger Westbrook, with such ferocity. Dwayne Wade, that kind of ferocity, that kind of zeal for the game. But at 260, and when he crashes the ground, the laws of physics are worse than they are for Dwayne Wade and people like that. So, but it's good news for Zion and for the Pelicans if he's really in shape, because he is going to wreak holy hell in the league.
I will just point out, and you should answer Randy's question there, is can he be just as effective at 230? There you go. That's your answer, Randy.
I'll give you a better answer in a minute. Go ahead, Henry.
But David was saying this when Greg Oden hadn't even played in an NBA game yet. He was like, just lose 30 pounds. And like, don't you wish you would have done that, right? Every landing with smaller impact on every joint. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a problem we've had for a long time. Players just get too big for their skeletons, really. I think every body probably has a natural natural optimal body. And because our bones have different thicknesses, whatever, that impacts a little bit what we can carry. But to Randy's question, I always say this, with players like Jokic, my first ever NBA client, Udonis, who was very muscular in college, and I thought he had cancer. He got so lean when he came here from France, and Zion and Kevin Love, they didn't forget how to use their ass, even if the ass gets smaller. They don't forget to use their shoulders when their shoulders get leaner. That knowledge of how to use their bodies don't disappear with the fat that disappears. And they don't need it's overkill. Jokic's body was overkill. Zion's body is overkill. 30 pounds lighter, he'll still destroy people. He'll just be lighter, faster, quicker, and be able to do it for longer periods of time because your heart won't beat as much, and he'll have less risk for injury. Like there's zero to lose, zero from a figurative standpoint, zero to lose. Lose the weight literally, zero to lose figuratively, and the league is just in trouble if he leans out. Like I would show him Kevin Love as much as possible. That dude lost a person. And if Zion does that, man, yeah.
Actually, I was thinking
Something,
about DeMarcus Cousins in the same way. I just feel
yeah, for sure.
like DeMarcus, however many pounds lighter you think he should be, but like there were just a lot of places he just didn't get to the spot to do the thing where he's elite,
For sure.
right?
Yeah. It's an athletic sport. I don't care about bowling or poker, right? But this is an athletic sport. And so we just know from a physical, there's a reason why there's no fat marathon runners, just to be honest. It's just not good for your body. It's fine to be overweight for lots of different things, not for this sport. And Zion is young. I mean, just like I'm a huge fan, and I want him to be lean and athletic and healthy, and it's good for the league because he's a marvelous player. He really is.
And I want to I've known David for a long time, and I've like taken in a lot of his advice, and I just want to like make this simple. If you're wondering how to lose that kind of weight, his answer is you layer the fruit in the sangria by color, so it's like a rainbow.
Hey, that's my Thanksgiving sangria. Yeah, I saw a good picture of it. I'm like, okay, that's pretty to look at and drink.
But that's not a weight loss technique, is it? The sangria with the fruit.
Alcohol probably is never good. Yeah, eating, it's not hard to lose weight. Eat less, exercise more, eat smarter. That's pretty much those three things will get it done.
I actually, there's a CJ McCollum on his podcast, I think, said more than a year ago something like about wine. He's like that stuff sticks to you. Yeah. His line. And yesterday, I've been running. I've been like exercising like sufficiently, but not like hard or anything. And yesterday I went for a longer run, and that's when I was not calling you back. But as I was running, I was like CJ's words. I was like, oh, that wine sticks to you. I was like, I feel it sticking. I feel it.
I don't know
also,
how that
underrated terrible moment of the pandemic was when we had Sue Bird on, and we're like, oh, Sue, that cracked me up. And you're like, oh, we've been drinking every night of the pandemic. And she was like, oh, we dropped that a long time ago. We're only doing weekends now. And I'm like, oh, Sue.
You never got that memo. It's funny.
Okay. Number 7. Oh, I'm sorry. We have one more Greg here. Have you asked players to get leaner for shooting purposes? No. Okay.
That guy shoot just fine. Getting to spots, getting open, guarding people that shoot, that's a problem. Yeah, but shooting won't matter if you're heavy or not. I mean, you can't be obese, but that's never an issue really.
Okay, there's a lot of the weekend on the of the NBA digital space was filled with this James Harden stuff. He's not with the Houston Rockets reportedly yesterday because of COVID protocols. And then there's quite a bit of viral video of him kind of partying like a rock star in a Houston restaurant or with his friend, and oftentimes not wearing a mask in big groups. Bummer, huh?
Well, what's funny is I had not seen that, and I told you on the phone this morning that a friend of theirs, meaning James Harden and John Wall, because I asked, we'll get to this. A friend of both of them said, "Oh, they're going to be partying a lot this year." So it doesn't mean he's right, but there's some concern that in the one person I talked to, that they know they're not going to championship. They know they're going to be good. This is what this person said, and they may just have a lot of fun this year. And I was not happy to hear that. No, I want those guys to be weaponized and ready to go at all times. And I think the Wall Harden combination is good on paper if Wall is healthy and all of that. But if James Harden is going to be irresponsible, it's not good at all. Like that won't play.
I have and we're talking about this COVID thing, right? And like the NBA is saying you can't even go in a restaurant, which I totally support. But there he's on video in a crowded indoor space without a mask, and it's like, well, okay, that's not working, right? Like, that we're not close. So one thing, I don't know. I don't have inside intel here, but it's totally possible to me that this was a very important event on James Harden's social calendar, his little baby's birthday party, and he's just reporting late to get to that party. I know a story of a player who had been out and was a free agent and got signed by a team and told him he could only report like 2.5 weeks out because he wanted to go. I mean, the story was because he was rehabbing, but the real story was that he wanted to go to a friend's wingding. He wanted to go to an event. He didn't want to be an employee of a team at that time. So
right.
It's not out of the question to me that James Harden just wanted to start his work year today or tomorrow.
Right. Which wouldn't be the first time for him.
Yeah.
More figuratively, he showed up to camp before heavy and not caring.
Yeah.
And the team, in fact, that's why I think Kevin McHale got fired years ago. Is Harden showed up out of shape.
Yeah.
They sucked. And they fired McHale and he got in shape, and Harden was amazing then, and the Rockets were
Yeah.
better. I don't know if Harden's had COVID. I don't like outing. I don't like that Donald Trump outed Rudy Giuliani for having COVID. That's got to be the person making that decision. Maybe Harden's had it, we didn't know about it, and feels like he can't get it again. We don't know. And I just am concerned that when I've heard the two of them, he and John Wall, like to have fun together, and given that they're not going to win a championship this year, just how locked in are they going to be? There's a talent, Henry, to the relentlessness that's required to chase a ring every year. I give LeBron great credit for that, because I, for example, thought after his 4 years in Miami, he may be happy to be on an underdog team in Cleveland. I was wrong. They got Kevin Love, and they made another 4-year run or whatever it was. So I don't know that Harden. He's had an appetite for a while, and this year they ain't going to make it, I don't think. And I don't know if he's just going to chase relentlessly the way he has in previous years, and always, or maybe he's just trying to slow down the process because he's always run out of gas the last 4 years. Maybe he won't really start till January this time. Who knows?
Yeah, I was thinking a little bit about. I don't think she originated it, but like Joe Biden's campaign manager, whose name escapes me, was using the phrase "we can do hard things." She kept saying that to people during the course of the campaign, and that made me think a little bit of. I don't know if you remember, but when Osama bin Laden was America's celebrity opponent, he was quoted somewhere basically saying like Americans can't do hard things. He's like, they're like a paper tiger. Like if we put up a fight, they'll leave, and that didn't work out for him. But I feel like this James Harden is example 10,000, mostly including a bunch of MAGA nut jobs, of people just being like, like putting a mask on is equivalent to like gearing up for cold weather. It's like putting on your scarf, right? It's like, it's the easiest thing, right? It's just what you have to do, right? And sort of saying like, as a lifestyle choice, right? Like, it's like, I can't do it. It's a hard thing. I can't do hard things. To me, like, it feels incongruent that you could be really good at this for the entire NBA season and just terrible at it last weekend, right? It seems like, no, we got to kind of practice that a little bit, right? Like, can you do hard things? That's the question. Like, it's looking like no on that video. Like, I could be proven wrong. James Harden's done harder things than I ever have. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
But that wasn't a good demonstration. We sort of got into this already, but talk to me about can John Wall be a star again? Do you feel like this Rockets roster could actually be good?
I don't like the Rockets roster so much. I think Harden is incredible, and when he's healthy, and I have no idea what to think of John Wall. I was a big fan when he came out. I went to his training camp his first year in Washington. Was not impressed with him then. Had real concerns about what kind of person he was, because to be one of the best players in the league, there's certain professional protocols you have to follow, and I wasn't convinced he understood him. And he's been amazing in some postseasons when he's healthy, on bad teams, and just been amazing on his own. Now 2 years out, I wouldn't know where to begin. He and Harden fit together just fine. We always talk about Harden needing a second primary ball handler to earn some rest. Wall can be that. He was the most athletic, gifted passer we had in the league at point guard. How's it going to be now? How's his shooting going to be? That's always been a question, right? Their depth is a concern for me. There's a brand new coach. I don't like how all those things, the stew that you're making with all those ingredients, it'll be fine. It's not going to win any, Michelin stars. And so that makes me wonder, okay, well then how bought in is Harden, right? We're going to get to the Bradley Beal story in Washington. How long are these guys in their prime, and Harden's eking out of it? How long are they willing to stay with it when it's not going to work, when there's other teams that they can maybe go to? So my guess is it's gonna last for a while, and then I think Harden's going to say, okay, the smartest thing for them to do is quiet down the trade talk and then do it when no one knows about it, and get the most value you can. And that's what I think will happen.
So moving on to Westbrook. By the way, your Michelin star comment, that was beautiful, David. Well done. I like that.
No one's gonna be writing about that, Stu, in the
Randy's wondering if you think trade this season. Yeah. Good John Hollinger story about that last week. Basically, like the Rockets are going to trade James Harden, even if they don't know it yet.
Yeah, right.
Okay, we're thinking about Russell Westbrook in Washington, and I guess there's kind of a logic where like, oh, now they have a good backcourt and they'll do stuff and blah blah blah. But Seth Partnow had this. I thought this was an eye-popping stat. Since they started with tracking data, there have been 7 individual seasons where a player, now listen to this carefully, has possessed the ball for more than half of the time has been on offense. His team has been on offense. So, and Russell Westbrook is responsible for 3 of those 7 seasons. This is a 5-player game. Like, for a whole season to have the ball for more than half the time you're out there is amazing.
And then I took that when you posted this earlier today in our document, and I looked up usage rates for John Wall, whose career high is 30.4% usage rate, which means possessions where he's, making the play in the possession. And that's his high. One time he did it with Bradley Beal. And Westbrook, I think what I say, he's got 7 seasons
over 34.
Yeah. 5 seasons over 34, maybe. One of them over 40. And one of those seasons was with James Harden. If you're Bradley Beal, you're thinking, what is going on? Like, I prefer John Wall when he was hurt to this guy, Westbrook, not hurt, because Beal was a monster on offense last year and can be. And so long term, I don't see that as a partnership. I know people in DC are excited about Westbrook Beal together. I don't think they should be.
I just had my memory is strange and sometimes it works beautifully, including just now. Okay. When I worked at ESPN, 2 of the smartest people who ever worked there, Dean Oliver and Alok Patani, who both left now. Alok is a bigwig at Google. He does galaxy brain stuff. Dean Oliver works for the Washington Wizards. He's on the bench.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't very often. I was always opinionated. They were like the advanced stats guys, and I would come with hey, this, oh, that. And they'd be like, probably not. My point is they're circumspect, very data driven. Well, maybe in one case, maybe a couple others, they came to me with we found something important here. And in this particular case, I'm remembering, it turned out to be a very data driven story, very nuanced data about the Thunder under Scott Brooks. And the point was the headline was something like "Don't blame Durant or Westbrook," because they basically, those two had a team kind of like we're describing the Wizards will be, where 2 players just absolutely dominate the ball, which means 10 players are standing around. But Dean Oliver's, who now works for the Wizards, his story then was basically that the Thunder's winning rate went up when those 2 combined had their usage rates go down. It's pretty commonsensical if you think about it. But at that time, if you watched an ESPN TV show, they would tell you basically Russell Westbrook's got to pound it down their throats, or Kevin Durant's got it was all about which one of those 2 should dominate the ball. But the right answer was neither, right? Because this is true on every basketball team. The ball should move around. but I thought it was interesting. Now, Dean Oliver's in the room, right, when they're deciding how this ball is going to move, which kind of sets up your trade idea, I guess.
Yeah. So, I read that Westbrook made a comment that, hey, I remember a lot of these plays from our OKC days, which I didn't think was so encouraging.
Yeah.
So the Westbrook Brooks bond is going to be strong. And I've said this before. I'm not the first one to say that the most natural trade piece for the Wizards, trade partner for the Wizards are the Wolves, who are really trying to become a relevant team. And they've got one of the best offensive centers we've ever seen in Karl Anthony Towns, and a very good playmaking guard in D'Angelo Russell. And so Bradley Beal makes sense for them. They will be a playoff team, in my opinion, with those 3. If, of course, they have a few more pieces in place. And those, in terms of talent, there's enough. And the Wizards, who have now Denny Avdia, super talented youngster, last year's pick, Rui Hachimura, who's a young guy who played 1 year of college. And then if you can get Anthony Edwards, the number 1 pick in the draft, and last year's number 1 pick, Jarrett Culver, like, all right, here comes a team that needs a couple years to grow, but they're all of the same age, 19, 20, 21-year-old kids. And so to me, it makes sense to do it both ways. And so, yeah, I would not be surprised if this happens.
Then what you say to Russell is, boy, Chris Paul sure made your Thunder roster really good, huh? Can you do that? Can you play with a bunch of young guys and make them good?
It's an easy sell for one guy when you're paying him a fortune like you are, is, hey, you owe us everything you got. And if we can get better faster, we don't need to lose anymore. We don't need to go in the lottery. We've got lottery picks galore, okay? And all these great talents. And so if you get us in the playoffs, great. If we're not going to have to make the playoffs and you're playing great, I'll be able to trade you to a team that's got other assets, other players that we want, and or assets. And yeah, you can't do this deal that I did. These are just placeholders. You need to have more guys. You can't trade Edwards for 30 days after the draft, which is coming up soon here. But the construct of the deal is in place. Culver, Edwards. I think Rubio is interesting to add in the mix for the Wizards. I don't think he could be traded with somebody else, so that becomes a little problematic. But there's a deal that can be done. And I like Russell Beal Towns, very much so. Doesn't mean it's my favorite, but Beal may not want to go to Minnesota as well. But Westbrook, play well and we'll trade you. Don't play well and you're stuck here with these young guys and we're going to bring you off the bench. Like you've got some control. You can't be held hostage. But if you can turn a John Wall Beal backcourt into Anthony Edwards and Jarrett Culver in a future one, and Russell Westbrook, who becomes someone else that's not valuable and young, Tommy Shepard will have done a hell of a job.
All right, so it's 11:37. We've used almost all of our available time before bringing Gerard in, and we're 9 out of 20 into this.
I didn't tell you we had to do all these things. You made that.
Let's try. Let's rip off a few here. Andrew Wiggins got buff.
Yeah, that's gonna be fast. Yeah, that's what they're saying. Wiggins, there's a picture. He got big and strong. If you're looking at this, that is not how he used to look. He didn't get buff small lowercase. He got buff all uppercase. He got much stronger. I don't know what it means. It's good. It's good that he's stronger. Let's see what happens from there. But this is part of the process for him to grow his game, is to just be a stronger athlete, more dedicated. So let's see what happens.
That means he cared about his job while he was off.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Number 11, the Jazz added Derek Favors, and that means something. Explain to us why.
Well, their backup last year, the kid from North Carolina, Tony Bradley, is actually from Tampa, who I thought was improving, was still a net negative defensively, especially. So they were, when Gobert was out, they were at their worst compared to any other guy being out, including Donovan Mitchell. Derek Favors was the Pelicans' highest rated defensive rating player. Extremely smart, not a rim protector, but a space protector, really knows how to play. He is going to help shore up their defense, which used to always be their calling card. And then when you factor in last year, they led the bubble of all the 3 teams. I think they were number 2 in threes taken behind Houston, who of course shot all threes. And that shouldn't change. They brought all their shooters back. So more shooting threes, better defensive team. The Jazz are going to be right there for be a top 4 team.
Just a note that in the chat, Greg is talking about stuff that's ringing a lot of bells for me. All right, Greg, we'll talk later. Okay. Number 12. Why are people down on the Bucks? Are they down on the Bucks?
I mean, yeah, people don't think that they're, because they didn't get Bogdanovich in the trade. Yeah. There's like this negative feel. They got Jrue Holiday.
Yeah.
Right? They've got everyone else back. They added Bobby Portis, who's serviceable. I don't know that they'll be deeper. I don't know they'll be more dynamic. And Giannis needs to make threes. But I still think they're going to roll through the East.
Yeah.
That's that. Now, if he can make threes in the postseason and they play better in the postseason, Jrue Holiday's really good, better than Bledsoe. I'm not down on the Bucks. I still think they'll be the best team in the East.
Okay, number 13. There's a beautiful story from Jason Quick on The Athletic about how Carmelo Anthony trusted the many different figures of the Blazers, Damian Lillard, TJ McCollum. And that's why he agreed for the first time in his career to come off the bench. He had to like swallow the bitter pill, he said. It's a beautiful story. The one little thing, though, is the key meetings with Neil Shea, and Neil talked to him about legacy and how he wanted Carmelo to know that when they brought him in, they would run plays for him and they would let him be Carmelo and they'd let him take big shots at the end of the game. And Carmelo said that really meant the world to him. That now, I was like, wow,
that ship has sailed.
Yeah. Like, so now they have a team with 500 forwards. And if they don't bring in this one and call his number, he feels betrayed. Like, shit. You can set your watches to that being a problem. Like, that's going to be a problem because there are going to be a whole bunch of games where that doesn't happen.
It's going to be on Lillard and CJ to love him up and just say, hey, bro, we need you to just not stress out about this.
Yeah.
And if they can't do it, then he's going to have to be traded or waived.
Yeah. Okay. Number 14. Our friend Michael Mina. This will take 2 seconds. Look at this. Super excited about a person I've never heard of who's a Biden pick to run the CDC. So great. I like that Michael Mina likes her. That's great. Okay. Number 15. This one's on you, David.
Oh yeah. So Patty Jenkins, who directed the first Wonder Woman movie, I believe directed the sequel that's coming out, I think Christmas Day. They just had a bunch of the press junket watch it. And so far the reviews have been enormous, although no one's really doing any spoiler alerts. They're just saying it was fun, fantastic fun. And I can just speak as a dad. How my daughter reacted to seeing the first Wonder Woman. My daughter's a foot shorter than Gal Gadot. She's 5'4", but they both were raised by Jewish families. And so my daughter just really got bubbly when she found out she was from Israel. And we're Jewish is what I would say, ish in quotes. It made my daughter did like superhero movies to Wonder Woman. And now we've watched every Marvel movie, but it reminded me of how Judy described her reaction to Mulan. Like there was just for girls out there, and for those of us who are daddies to girls who want them to think they can do anything. Yet we have Kamala Harris now as a VP. We've got Wonder Woman, and I can't wait for Christmas Day because we always do movies in the theater. This year it's in the Thorpe house. My son is not going to be here, but the three of us are going to watch Wonder Woman maybe twice, and it's going to be a big day. So we're excited about it.
Wait, is Gal Gadot 6'4"? Is that what you're telling me?
No, but she's way taller than my daughter, I'm sure. Yeah. She certainly seems 6'4" on the screen.
Judy says in my heart she is.
Exactly. Yeah. I want to grow up to be her, that's for sure.
Just a quick little we're initiating a new Christmas tradition around here, which is also very female forward, which is the Abbotts love the Pitch Perfect series. We started the first yesterday. First and second. Two of us made it to the end of the second. But if this is a movie with no male characters of significance whatsoever. And it's 500,000 jokes a minute. Anyway, Pitch Perfect, amazing.
I think I've taken my daughter to at least two of them, and I think I slept through every note. I've never seen the movies, and I paid $8 per theater. Yeah, how sad is that? I love music. I don't know why I fell asleep, but I'm pretty sure I fell asleep all 3 times.
No, it's not about music. It's just a comedy.
Even worse. Okay, so maybe we'll put that on the schedule too.
All right, number 16. Are the Nets a top 3 team?
Yeah, I asked that. ESPN has them in their power rankings as 3rd. I don't get it. I don't see it. You and I both have, I love the city of Brooklyn. Love Brooklyn, and think they should be the sexiest franchise in sports. And people laugh at me for that. But you and I have been ripping the Nets for a long time, ever since they did the first deal with the Celtics. I don't get it now. I'm rooting for them, and I love the team they built the last few years. I'm confused by the Kyrie KD thing. I think they could be a very good team. A lot has to go right, but to just project them at top 3 now seems, I mean, you're allowed to project whatever you want. I'm just not buying it. There's better teams, in my opinion.
I am not a gambler. If there were a way to bet the field, I would. like whatever odds you want. You take the Nets, I'll take everybody else. I'm in.
I'm with you.
Actually, I was interested in this. I think there should be a thing where like you get to pick 3 teams, and I'll take it out of 27, and you just I don't even care which your 3 are, something like that. I think that'd be an interesting way to bet. All right,
Betting on a lot. You're betting on a lot.
you're betting on a lot. Okay, number 17. This is I have misplaced my Another Lane sweatshirt, my hoodie. Don't worry, I'm gonna find it. But I've gone a couple days without it, which makes me think it's invaluable. This is the Christmas gift. Those of you who are shopping, this is what you want right here. It's nicer than you can imagine.
It's really nice. I wore it. I wore it
nice
this weekend.
sweatshirt. There we go.
Look at Judy. Yeah, look at that. I wore it this weekend. It's great.
It's
I'm
really
just
nice.
wondering. I've been in your house before. How big is your house to have lost a sweatshirt, Henry?
I'm asking myself this. Like, I don't like.
And it's not like it's a color that blends in.
We have to. I'm looking around. Like, can I see it? I think in pandemics we have to give ourselves a little leeway. Like, crazy stuff happens. I can tell you what didn't happen is I didn't go anywhere.
That's my point.
I was here.
In your house.
Our house is a construction zone right now.
Yeah.
There's stuff everywhere.
Someone may have lifted it.
I don't
Your
like
dog might have taken it somewhere and buried it.
She's a little tired right now.
Right.
Okay. I have to go on a quick little rant here.
Yes.
The great former FBI Special Agent Asharangappa was on Trumpcast with Virginia Heffernan. I listened to it this weekend. And they get deep into the dilemma of, do you prosecute Donald Trump or not? And she says, Asharangappa, it's embarrassing. It's a stain on the country. It's turmoil to watch a former president be prosecuted. On the other hand, we are a nation of laws, and the whole idea is that no one is above the law. Her solution is don't elect criminals to be president.
Right.
Then you don't have to deal with this, and that's a great point. I have one other thing though that I'm like stuck on here, which is the Mueller report. To me, maybe intentionally, maybe it's in the other part that we didn't get to read, like, is just missing stuff that's in books on the shelf, like Craig Unger's book, and others. Catherine Belton's been on the show in her book, which is that Trump's done a lot of business with the mob. It's inarguable, and it's not mentioned anywhere, and that is wrapped up with money laundering. So here's my thought: they need to have some kind of justice here. Even Nixon, Asher points out, resigned and kind of had to confess in a sense, right, which gave some kind of closure. My thought is, do the money laundering investigation. Do it in a big showy way, because it is an ongoing threat to America, right? The mob's influence in money laundering and potentially over other politicians and business leaders, whatever happened with Epstein and Apollo Global and all this stuff, right? We need to understand it for real. So my thought is, turn the screws on that. Haul Trump in, do the movie scene where you're like, we got you on this, we got you on that. What are you going to tell us, right? And let him just turn everybody in. Let him sing. Like, there's actually pretty good evidence he's done it before. Like, there have been things where he was in trouble, everyone got in trouble except for him before, what the FBI was involved in. Like, I think he's already been an informant. So that's not coming from me, my judgment. There have been stories published about this, but
right. My
thought is, like, get the big investigation on the stuff that matters to the country moving forward, and get him to, feel the heat and participate, and then we'll just then I can move on.
You're saying offer him immunity to turn state's evidence on everybody else.
No, just make him a deal, right? Like just we could get you on this, but hey, if you help us out with that, then we'll get you 6 months suspended sentence or whatever, just like they do for everyone who testified, like Robert Gates kind of deal,
Right. I'm all for it. You don't want me to get down the rabbit hole of Bob Mueller and why I thought he was put in that position, because I thought that I read the book. I thought it was toothless and it shouldn't have been. You and I were talking when it first was appointed. He's definitely going to go into the money laundering, and we haven't seen that. And I think that was by design. I sound like Jade Hoy, Mr. Conspiracy Man. I'm very concerned that they knew exactly what they were doing, putting an old man who, when he finally could testify, would be awful on TV, and he was awful on TV. And so I feel like I also sound like Gerard. It's all
we're gonna do
planted
this.
in.
We're gonna hit our schedule, David. Okay, number 19. I just saw there haven't been great polls from the Georgia Senate race, but can you show that one, Judy? The just shortly before the show. Look at this.
Today. Yeah, that was today.
That's just like an hour ago.
Yeah,
super close is the point.
Yeah, I didn't see the debate last night. Did you?
No.
but I heard. Well, first of all, also he debated a podium.
Yeah.
Because Purdue wouldn't go on, and then the woman just. I don't know where to begin. Just so she's, I heard she was just terrible. I didn't watch it.
Well, Trump said she won. So
huh?
Trump said she won.
Well, he's wrong about everything always. So that's encouraging.
Yeah. Okay. Number 20, final thing. I don't know if you saw this, David.
No.
But, it's just the freeway in LA, regular scene. And there we go.
Oh, no way.
Look, there's LeBron.
Oh, that's why is he wearing a mask?
Yeah.
He's driving 100 miles an hour with a Ferrari, whatever the hell that is. He doesn't. The virus is not that fast.
It doesn't matter, David. Here's the point. He's on TV wearing a mask, which is good.
Yeah. No, you're right, of course. But
yeah.
I still would rather just be based in science. But that's really funny.
Yeah.
Or he just is trying to do it a little bit anonymously. Does it say number 23 in the back? Do we know what his license plate, his vanity plate is?
Yeah, you couldn't really catch it. Can we watch it one more time, Judy? Also, I'm a little bit concerned that he's too tall for that car. Like, look, his head's above the roll bar. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. It was specially designed, you would think, for him. Is that I just know I don't care about cars. I know nothing about them, but I don't know what kind of car that is. But my first guess would be a Ferrari. I don't know why I guess that. I can't see a license plate. Yeah, that's funny as hell, though, man. That's great stuff.
Good forensic work, Judy.
Great stuff.
All right, we did it. Gerard, Hector, are you available?
While he's coming on, thank you, Bilal. I texted Bilal overnight. A friend of mine is dealing with COVID, and I reached out to Dr. Ron Sen and Bilal just to get any feedback I can get as to how to deal with it for people our age. And he was just amazing, as always.
That was a nice car. Was that a Lamborghini?
Maybe? I don't know. I don't know nothing about cars.
Henry, you're right. His head's way too far above the.
Too high.
I was like, this is problematic. Look, who cares about the NBA? Henry, your family loves Pitch Perfect. I mean, I'm coming over and we're having like full on Pitch Perfect deep dives.
You like it too?
I mean, I guess spend an hour talking about Chloe's nodes if you want. Like, there's so much.
I like, when I parted ways with ESPN, I had to sort of come up with some kind of way to talk about that. And my preferred way, which doesn't resonate with enough people for me, is like, no, it's just like when the Bellas didn't want to do Becca's music. like, fine, if you guys don't want to do my music, I'm out of here.
Becca, awesome. Thank you, Judy. No, like it's hilarious. I mean, it's just so good because there's like it's just silliness and it's for literally like an hour and a half. Like it's so fun. And they're singing songs. Like, what's not to love about this whole franchise? And Pitch Perfect 4 coming soon.
Wait, seriously?
I believe so.
Big news.
Yep, big news.
I'm disappointed. I expected we hit on some pretty interesting political fireballs.
Forget that.
Comes in with the fire.
Way more important than that.
He comes with the fire on Pitch Perfect.
I actually think that it has a thing that to me is okay. This is such a stupid topic for me to bring up right now, but the way women are portrayed in the media is, so stupid, right? The way the characters of Pitch Perfect see each other feels like a little more real, like how women in the real world see other women, in my experience, right? It seems like, geez, like, you're amazing for this, and that's kind of a burden, and like it's a big stew of different things, and we're all in this together, right? Like it feels like the emotions they go through together feel like real life, and like kind of a model for me of like yeah, you're mad about all that stuff, and you're excited about all that stuff, and put it all together, and just do it, just like go forward.
Yes, Randy, we are doing TrueHoop Pitch Perfect trivia. I agree.
Great. Hey, Gerard, what do you think of the Nets? Top 3?
No, I mean, the thing is, I don't know because we don't know what Kevin Durant's going to look like, right? So you can't put them there.
Right. They could be.
Sure, they could. But now I wouldn't say that. I mean, it's the same thing when you ask, like, who won the Westbrook John Wall trade? Well, the Wizards, because we've seen Westbrook play the past 2 years. We haven't seen John Wall play for 2 years. I have zero idea. He could be old John Wall. He could be completely horrible. I have no idea. I got to at least see 10 minutes of him on a basketball court where I can figure it out.
Yeah, I'm with you.
This is about the time a year ago when I was saying the same things about the Lakers. Just gonna own that. Like a year ago, like, oh, this cobbled together team is gonna suck.
Well, it is funny, right? Because I think, like many people last off season, I was like, I don't think the Lakers have enough shooting. I was like, this is not going to be very good. What do I know? Clearly, it didn't matter. They were because KCP all of a sudden could hit shots. Rondo could hit shots. Like, so I said the same thing looking at their offseason. Now I'm like, you gave up some shooting to get okay. Wes Matthews, maybe you'll look. Ultimately, they got LeBron and Anthony Davis, right? Like, so if those two are healthy and doing what they do, they just need those role guys to like occasionally hit shots, and they'll be fine.
We're already in training camp. Like these guys they're practicing 2-a-days all over the league today. It's coming
Crazy.
Fast and furious.
When I saw
Portland isn't, but everyone else.
Well, when I saw Portland shut down, I actually meant to text you, Henry, but since you didn't text David back, I was like, forget it. You wouldn't. But I was like, oh man, like that is crazy though, right? Like, and what if it happens that like, and this would be a disaster. Adam would like go nuts if the Christmas Day game got canceled. He would like, I don't even know what he'd do.
He's gonna have a plan B. He has a plan B right now.
Got to.
Yeah.
I mean,
sleepless nights.
The players are not in a bubble right now because the players didn't want to be in a bubble right now, right? Like, I'm guessing plan B is, do you guys want to cancel the season and cost all your money, or do you want to come back to the bubble, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, if we get these rapid tests through, we've been saying this for a long time now. I could just see that they're going to have a big advantage in doing that, because then you can prevent the super spread amongst the team, right? You'll just have one person getting on occasion.
The one is every team doing the same thing, Henry? Like you do the individual test first, and you do the whole like, and then once you pass that, then we are all doing teams. Okay, so every team is doing this. That's what I thought, but I wasn't 100% sure.
I mean, I just know from the leaked documents that basically like you test in, right, of the league-wide protocol of, over a period of a week, you have to have, I think, 4 negative, or you test it every day, you have to be all negative. And eventually, so I guess we're already at the point where they can commingle.
Yeah.
For most of the last week, you can only have 2 players in them practically at a time, and then 4, etc. But they're going to get to the point where they have up to 50 people in the traveling party who can commingle without masks. So, and I imagine that's good science. I think it's more like, okay, you're the mayor of New York City. How many private plane loads full of James Hardens do you want to come into your city?
Yeah.
0, 1, 2. How about several a week? Is that a good number for you? And
I will say, speaking about James Harden, and you guys know this because we have people we talk to in and around the league, like this part that I'm going to say first is known, right? OKC was worried about James's partying, which is one of the big reasons why they moved him, even though I still yell at Presti for making that trade. Okay, so everyone knows that piece. Second piece is, look, this dude is happy, like competing for MVPs every year, winning scoring titles, making $200 million a year from Adidas. Like championships, I'm not saying he doesn't want to win one, but as I noted earlier in the in the chat, the tax for winning a championship, he's not really interested in paying that. So that's what you have.
It's no crime. I mean, look, if you were John Stockton and if you were super obsessed with winning title but just didn't, like, would you take the microphone and say, I'm devastated every year? Or would you say, I'm fine with it? Like,
right.
Probably say you're fine with it, right? Like, he might be turned off about it, but not everybody gets one. It's just how it is.
Gerard, 30 seconds on Beal for Anthony Edwards and Jarrett Culver.
I don't know if I love Minnesota's like organization. Like, what are they even doing there? Like, that's my thing. Like, is he going to another wasteland? Like, what is Minnesota actually doing?
I think the guys in charge are smart.
Okay.
He's going to a place called Carl Anthony Town.
Well, speaking of Carl Anthony Town, funny, Henry. Did you read Krasinski's piece about Cat?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, so for everyone who thinks the virus isn't real, tell that dude that COVID's a hoax and it's just bullshit and whatever. Nobody cares about wearing masks. Like, this guy's going through it. And the idea that, and I love how Krasinski pieced it, like, in a movie, he becomes all NBA, wins MVP, whatever, but real life ain't a movie. Like, I have no idea how this is going to affect him this season. Like, 0.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we're out of time.
He'll play better with Bradley Beal, though.
That's true.
That's all I'm saying.
That's true. Okay. David, thank you for going on the crazy 20 topic journey with me. Gerard, thank you for joining us. Judy, as ever.